Have you ever looked at your phone, waiting for a message that never comes? Stared at a screen glowing with silence, wondering how someone who once lit up your world now pretend you're just an option? It's a sharp kind of ache, isn't it? Not because he left, but because he stayed just enough to keep your hope alive. One moment he's warm, curious, saying things that melt your walls. The next, he's distant, distracted, cold in that peculiar way men become when they're emotionally elsewhere, but not yet gone. You feel it in your bones before your mind admits it. You're not the only woman on his radar. You're just the one he keeps on the back burner, just in case. But here's the thing no one tells you. When a man treats you like an option, he's already lost sight of your value. And when you keep showing up, trying to prove it, he never learns the pain of losing you. He never gets the silence that speaks louder than your tears. On the silent strategy, we don't play by the old rules. We don't chase. We don't beg. We master the game of love in silence. Because silence makes him hear himself. Today, we're going to unravel something powerful. The subtle psychological shifts that happen when a woman who was once treated like a second thought disappears. Not in anger, not in a storm, but with self-respect so loud, he feels it echo. In this video, you'll understand why he took you for granted, how men process emotional loss differently, and how you can turn your own pain into power, not for revenge, but for rebirth. Stay with me till the end, because with every passing minute, this message will peel away old wounds, reveal unseen truths, and remind you of something you may have forgotten. You were never meant to be an option. You were always the prize. He just couldn't see it. Until now. There's something quietly haunting about the way some men treat women they secretly know they don't deserve. At first, he showed up with all the signals of interest. Attention, affection, maybe even obsession. He learned your patterns, memorized your laughter, picked up on the words that made you smile. Not because he was emotionally invested yet, but because he wanted to be seen as the man who could win you. That early stage? It's not always real love. It's performance. What happens next is subtle. You start giving more. He starts giving less. You become predictable, emotionally available, constant. And that constancy, instead of making him feel safe, it makes him feel entitled. Here's what no one tells you. Some men don't recognize emotional value until it's removed. They only look inward once the mirror, you, is gone. When a man begins to treat you like an option, it's rarely because you've done something wrong. It's because he believes he has options. He feels your energy chasing, your patience stretching, your heart hesitating but still hoping. He knows you're wondering where you stand, so he does just enough to keep you uncertain. You'll notice the shift. He doesn't say, "I love you" outright, but he says, "I miss talking to you." He doesn't make plans, but he flirts just enough to keep the door half open. He won't define the relationship, but he gets jealous when you create distance. That's not love. That's possession in disguise. He might compliment you when you start pulling away, just to reel you back in, or suddenly show up when you've gone quiet. And you think, maybe he does care. Here's what that really means. He's not responding to your soul. He's responding to the absence of your energy, the silence that disrupts his comfort. The moment you stop filling the space, he feels the emotional labor he's never had to do. And that's where it begins to sting for him. But only if you stay gone long enough for that sting to become a realization. See, when a man treats a woman like an option, he's placing her on emotional layaway. She's not his priority, but she's available if things don't work out elsewhere. And you were never meant to live in someone else's maybe. Let this sink in. When a man isn't afraid of losing you, he never invests emotionally. And when he finally feels your absence, not your anger, not your argument, but your absence, that's when the mirror turns on him. That's when he begins to feel the pain he never expected. Because in your stillness, in your soft and certain silence, he sees what he gave up. Have you ever lit a candle in a silent room? The flame doesn't shout. It flickers. It glows. It just is. And yet, everything else in that room responds to its light. That's what your presence becomes when you stop chasing clarity from a man who keeps you confused. You don't go cold. You go quiet. Not to manipulate, but to realign. Because here's the truth. When a man treats you like an option, it's not just about him. It's about the energy you carry, the magnetism you give away too easily. He doesn't just sense your love, he senses your fear. Fear of being replaced. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being alone. But when you shift, something powerful happens. You become an emotional lighthouse. Still, constant, luminous. You no longer chase ships that are unsure if they want to dock. You simply shine and let the lost navigate on their own. This isn't about playing hard to get. That's a game. This is about becoming hard to forget. Because deep down, a man doesn't fall in love through your perfection or your loyalty or your overgiving. He falls when he feels your value without you having to prove it. In this silence, you set an invisible boundary. You stop explaining yourself. You stop asking him to show up. You stop shrinking just to be seen. And this silence? It is not empty. It is full of power, of grace, of all the self-respect you forgot you had. Your absence becomes the echo that reminds him of what he took for granted. And when the noise of distractions fade and the warmth of your attention disappears, that's when he starts to feel the emotional weight of what he discarded. This is when pain starts speaking to him. Not the loud pain of drama or arguments, but the quiet ache of missing you, the you who stopped dancing to the beat of his whims. When you were chasing him, he never had to reflect. When you loved him more than you loved your peace, he never questioned his worthiness. But now the mirror turns inward. Because your silence, it is a symbol, not of revenge, but of return to yourself. That's not insecurity, it's unhealed fear. And when you stop feeding that fear, his shadow surfaces. Now he asks himself the question you once whispered to the walls at night. Why isn't she trying anymore? When a man treats you like an option, your instinct may scream to explain, to plead, to prove your worth in his eyes. But listen, your value is not up for debate. And the moment you stop trying to earn what should be naturally felt, you begin the silent strategy. Let's begin not with words, but with posture. You don't need to slam doors or send long paragraphs to show you're done begging for basic respect. All you need is stillness, a pause, a recalibration of how you show up. He calls? Let it ring once in a while. He texts, miss you, at midnight after days of absence? Don't rush to reply with wide open arms. This isn't about punishment. It's about presence. And presence speaks loudest when it's selective. Your energy used to run towards him, constantly anticipating his needs, forgiving his mood swings, adjusting your love to fit his schedule. Now, your energy returns home, to your body, your breath, your peace. When you speak, speak slowly. Not in anger, but in grounded self-trust. Say things like, I don't chase clarity anymore. I invite it. Or, I'm not angry. I've just outgrown confusion. You don't owe explanations for your boundaries. You don't owe apologies for your silence. In fact, your silence is sacred. It's the space where your standards are rebuilt brick by brick. It's where you stop fighting for connection and start observing who shows up when you stop trying. Watch how he behaves when you no longer initiate. When your good morning texts fade and your emotional labor ends. Watch how quickly he notices the gap and what he fills it with. Some will step up. Some will drift. Both are answers. Don't panic when silence feels heavy. You are not losing him. You are locating him. You are watching, without interfering, what his soul does in the absence of your constant affirmation. And if he comes back, let your energy ask the questions your lips no longer need to voice. Why did you only remember my worth when I stopped reminding you? Are you here for my peace? Or because you've lost control? You see, when you were an option, he got used to your forgiveness on demand. But now, when you speak from silence, you become unpredictable. And unpredictable is powerful. Because love is not built in chaos. It's built in clarity. And clarity comes from emotional contrast. Show him what life feels like without your softness. Let the absence of your warmth paint the truth. This is the silent strategy in motion. You don't have to scream to be heard. Your absence echoes louder than any argument. So pause before reacting. Breathe before replying. And remember, you don't attract through performance. You magnetize through self-possession. You are never just an option. He only treated you that way because he thought you'd never leave the shelf he put you on. But here's the thing about women like you. Still waters run deep. And when you finally decide to pull your energy back, you don't announce it. You reclaim it in silence. Let him feel it. Let him sit in the very emptiness he created, hoping you'd keep filling the gap. Let him remember your presence in the absence of your voice. Let him replay the way you used to show up so gently, until one day, you just didn't. That ache in his chest? That confusion in his eyes? That sudden need to check on you after ignoring you for days? That's not love waking up. That's control slipping away. And that, my love, is when the game flips. He treated you like an option. Now he gets to sit with the pain of realizing you were the one thing he could never replace. Because you gave from a place of depth. You loved not for show, but from soul. But now, it's your turn to stop bleeding for someone who only ever brought a bandage when it served him. From this moment, choose your silence not as punishment, but as power. Choose your boundaries not as walls, but as invitations. Invitations for real energy, for presence, for depth, for love that doesn't ask you to shrink. You are not here to chase breadcrumbs. You are here to feast on reciprocity, to rise like a storm of stillness. So tonight, pause. No phone checking, no overthinking, no replaying what he said or didn't say. Instead, journal this. Where in my life have I confused attention with affection? What am I truly craving? And how can I give that to myself first? Who would I become if I stopped settling for emotional crumbs? Because the woman who knows her worth doesn't need to beg for closure. She becomes her own clarity. And she stops dancing for a man who only watched from the sidelines. Let this be your turning point. Let him feel the silence. Let him watch you glow without the need to prove anything. You don't have to make him regret losing you. Just live in a way where he has no choice but to. Because here's the truth, whispered from one soul to another. You are the prize. Not the fallback. Not the second choice. Not the maybe if things were different. And when a woman finally sees herself through the lens of wholeness, the game is no longer about winning him back. It's about winning herself fully, fiercely, and without apology. This is the silent strategy. This is how you master the game of love in silence. Now, if something stirred inside you, drop it in the comments. Tell us, what shift did this awaken in you? And if this helped you feel seen, share it with another woman who's still questioning her worth in the shadow of someone else's indecision. Because you don't have to chase love. You become it. And once you do, everything begins to change. I'll see you in the next one, warrior. Stay grounded. Stay golden. The silent strategy.